Can we start with a moment of silence? Will you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We again remind our visitors to make sure your cell phones are on mute or silent. Jill, can you call roll call, please?
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Reed.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Davis. Here. French.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Do I have a motion to approve of the agenda? So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, so we have a couple of presentations this evening. The first will be the comprehensive plan update / annual report. City Manager Terry.
Yes. Members of council, in your agenda package is a updated comprehensive plan for our transportation or for our community. This is part of our annual requirement for CDBG eligibility. Lindsay has done a great job of putting this together, and the administration asked that council approve it as presented.
Any questions?
Yes, do we have a sense for how often we can revisit this so that we stay a little bit more attached to it, so that when we're going through our agenda each week, we can ensure that we're really working towards this plan, so we don't get sidetracked on things that aren't maybe as important?
Well, I think that this plan also has to be delivered to the planning commission. And they are the council's legs for ensuring that our plans, our master plan, our zoning is staying up to par with what's the latest in the state of Michigan and as far as their laws. In this particular case, this document was prepared with the idea that it was a requirement from our funding agency, which is MISHDA, who handles CDBG grants in the state of Michigan for all municipalities. And so they had laid out the format for us to do this. While it is important that we do this, it has to be updated on an annual basis anyway.
I would add that, that council on usually a 3-year average meets for strategic planning purposes. So it would probably behoove us in the coming months to actually do some strategic planning, sort of reset priorities as appropriate. So
If you review the plan itself, most of the things in here are the planning and zoning, which falls under the planning commission. There are some things that fall under the administration and of course DDA and the Economic Development Corporation. My recommendation is that we rely on our planning commission to keep council appraised of anything that we need to change so that we maintain our eligibility to apply for grants.
So I'm of the mind that when you have a strategic plan, that we ought to be operating almost on a daily basis, on a regular basis against that strategic plan, because if you don't, it's pointless to have a strategic plan. And I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying that if the planning commission is therefore responsible for it, and I feel we ought to have more dialogue, there to be updates. Similar to some other things, I'd like to see updates on a more regular basis. Because when we're only looking at this once a year, it's clearly not a very effective planning tool for council. So I'd like to see it be something that's more in our face that we discuss and that we're a little bit more conversant in, so that when we're talking to people, we can relate what's on our agenda to what's on the comprehensive plan.
My suggestion is that, perhaps semi-annually, we sit down with the planning commission, hold study sessions with them, and each share where we're at on the comprehensive plan. That would be my suggestion.
Can I help it add? Just to add a little more context to this. This is kind of the broader strokes, which I understand where you're going with that, because I definitely understand the granularity of wanting to change it or, make amendments or adjustments as needed. Annually, we do the strategic goal setting, which will be it'll be the directive for the city manager, and we do that every spring. That will be more so where we'll utilize our input. I'm stuttering. Where we'll utilize our input to ensure that we're guiding the ship more tightly as opposed to such broad strokes. Because this has the parks in it, it has the EDC in it, it has a lot in it. But the strategic goals that we set every year, we'll have the opportunity to give our full input on that, and that'll be what really governs the direction we're going in annually.
Would it be fair to say, Donovan, then, that this comprehensive plan is a broader corporate-wide approach to goal setting, and that the one we're talking about in the spring is specific to operations of the city manager and the city?
Correct.
So, so I still maintain that we should not be treating this as a twice-a-year thing to look at. So that's my 2 cents worth. I'd like to see it more in front of us, and I just don't think it serves a very good purpose if we're not paying attention to it on a more regular basis. And not, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but twice a year isn't enough for me. I'd like to see it bi-monthly, and I'd like to see a lot of other reports bi-monthly as well, just so that we're holding people accountable to move on things. So a plan's only good if you operate it. And I know I'm not picking on anybody. I want to see us move on some of this stuff. And so I'd like to see the planning people come and present how we're doing on this, or provide a report or something along that line to make sure we're moving. There's a lot of things on here that are ongoing.
Yeah.
That's not a great status. So, and maybe it's because we set a goal that's not a specific, measurable, attainable kind of a goal. I don't know, but I'd like to see us do a better job of that. It's just too ethereal. So I'd like to make it happen. My 2 cents.
Thank you, Jim.
Any other comments? Okay, Councilwoman, you asked for a monthly grant update report?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I guess I didn't provide Doug with enough information or context. Typically, this just accompanies the packet in the back of the packet. We don't typically go through it. Now, this is Jim and CJ, this is probably your first time seeing it, but typically once a month, we just attach it to the back of the agenda packet, and it will allow you to see what grants we're currently working on and any that we've done in the past, to kind of give context, as you said, to what we're doing and how we're moving strategically to address the strategic plan as well as the comprehensive plan. So I don't think I need to go through it. It is good to see this Harrisfield grant and the congressionally directed spending request that we'll discuss later. But, other than that, I wouldn't have seen the Harrisfield.
So with this format, did you find it useful?
Yes, I think this is the one that we used previously.
Yep.
I don't have an issue with this at all.
The only thing it's missing is the outcome. Okay, again,
Okay. The one other thing I would report related to this is that there's this program in Washington DC called congressional spending or discretionary spending. Because all the events that are happening in Washington DC right now, we were notified today by Tim Wahlberg's office that our request for street repair in the amount of about $6 million has been put on hold. I asked them if we could ask that to be transferred to a possible 2026 program. I want to advise council right now, the uncertainty of federal funding and some of that filtering back down to the state is in serious review, in jeopardy right now. So the funds that we might have received in any other year is because of what's going on in Washington right now is doubtful, at least for this fiscal year. So I just think you should be aware of that.
He was going to say that he had granted it.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, just, I wanted to say, I like this format, it's a nice summary, and, it's good to see all of it together, and
And to give credit, Lindsay prepared all of this, and she is such an asset to our organization, like all of our employees.
thank you, Lindsay, it's a great job. Just-
This was, yeah, it's promising. I enjoyed, well, I appreciated at least seeing what the status is and the ones that have been awarded as well as the ones that were denied. So it's a good update. Thank you.
All right. Next item, we have to go to a public hearing. Notice of the closeout of public hearing for Michigan Community Development Block Grant funding for the Erie Street Rental Rehab Project. So I will open the public hearing at 7:12. Does anyone wish to make comments on the CDBG funding for Erie Street Rental Rehab Project? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Okay, and we'll move on to public comments regarding the agenda. Persons addressing the city council shall limit their comments at this time to agenda items only and to no more than 3 minutes. The quorum is required. Do you have any comments on the agenda? All right. Moving on, do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar, which I think only has the meetings from February 18th?
So moved. Support.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the consent calendar? If there's no discussion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Items for individual discussion. I need a motion to approve of $188,801.25 to purchase a large dump truck, plow truck with outfittings and accessories. DPW Chief Kern.
Evening, council. As we talked in the study session, this is to place an order for a new dump truck that we hope to take delivery sometime in the late summer, early fall of 2026. We don't put any money down on this right now. It does not cost us anything until that time period. I've already met with Director Clark, Finance Director Clark on this. Told him I'd like to order this early, just because we were told last week that they're 16 months out. Normally, we placed the order for the other two back in July of 24. We expected to have them arrive in July of 25. Now we are told that they won't show up until November sometime. So I don't think I really need to go down through. I know we got a lot on the agenda about all the different trucks that we have currently that we need to get rid of.
Any questions for Chief Kern? Roll call.
Do you have a motion and support?
We do.
Who is that?
Jim and Donovan.
Andy Mendon.
Oh, sorry. Not my phone. It must be Vivian's.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Stewart,
Yes.
Frost,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem French.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the purchase of 3 Ram 350, 3500s to replace our current pickup trucks? So moved.
Support.
This is through the Enterprise Lease Program. These are actually leased vehicles. We'll be turning in, right now, we have 3 Ford F-250s or 3/4 ton trucks that we're going to be turning back in. These are to replace the 3/4 ton trucks with the 1 ton Ram pickup trucks. We went with Ram just because, as I said earlier, that they have the best government incentives right now between Chevy and Ford. We also have, from the vehicles we turned in this time we turned in the fall of 24. We have $26,000 in equity that they'll apply to our entire payment. And going with these 3 1-ton pickups compared to the 3 3/4 ton pickups, we're actually saving $465 a month on our lease payment to Enterprise. These will be 5-year leases, and so this is already budgeted for. We're just switching them out at this time.
Any questions for Chief Eric?
Councilmember Reed. Yes. Stewart,
Yes.
Frost,
Yes.
Davis,
yes,
Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem French.
Do I have a motion to approve $120,000 for City Hall's elevator repair / upgrade?
so
Support.
Our City Hall elevator, like I said, is probably, we believe, was installed in the 1970s. There's been no major upgrade since then. The main component that went out in our elevator is the control board that's mounted on top of the elevator. When I saw it for the first time, I was actually shocked because it has tubes, vacuum tubes in it, just like an old TV. They no longer make the board, nor do they have anyone have a board on hand to replace it to get the elevator back up and running. As I said before, the cart itself, or the box itself, is in great shape. The rail system, the structure is in good shape, and the hydraulic cylinder that moves it up and down is in good shape. What they plan on doing is actually replacing all of the electronics, making it ADA compliant to where it has to have the braille above all the buttons for it. It's redoing the display screens above each floor, and replacing all of the internal components and all the electrical components down in the mechanical room to actually control the elevator itself. As of right now, our elevator is completely done. They cannot fix it any longer. We've known it started to go out here a little bit in the last few months. We thought we could maybe get it along to make it through the year, and finally it was just done. It's $114,000 and some change from Otis, the company that built the elevator. I'm asking for $120,000 just in case. We all know how these projects go. There's some incidentals we'll probably run into. So I just want to have a little bit of extra cushion in case we need to replace some things that we don't know about just yet.
Questions for Chief?
Yes, about the timeframe which we discussed in the study session was between 12 and 18 weeks. Is that to get the project started, or is that to have it finished with repairs?
They'll
How
have
long
it
are repairs?
finished.
Okay,
Have it finished in 12 to 18 weeks. I'm hoping they can get it done sooner. If we can make the deposit tomorrow, they can order the parts and really get on it. I told them that this is our only elevator, and that the council chambers are up on the 2nd floor. So they will do their best they can to get a rush on it, but they're planning 12 to 18 weeks for completion.
thank you, Chief Curtis.
And just for the audience who didn't attend the first meeting, where are the funds coming from?
This will end up coming out of the fund balance itself. This was not a budget item. So this will have to come out of the savings account basically for the city.
I'd just like to make a comment, really in response to some citizen concerns that I've been hearing, and mostly on social media, and sometimes on email. And first of all, I want to say thank you. I think you've done a great job. And I would categorize we have a lot of expenditures tonight. And so to a lot of people, that's going to seem like city is spending money frivolously. And I want to say that I was concerned about that, but your explanations earlier were very good. And I want to say thank you for explaining to us that a lot of this was budgeted. And this and the items that are still coming up, and it was already in the budget, it was planned, and I appreciate that. So it's not a surprise thing. I appreciate how you're trying to catch us up from COVID times when things had to slide a little bit and trying to get things, so we're in a very good maintenance cycle, and I appreciate that you've got policies such as the snow clearing equipment, where we're taking extremely good care of our vehicles so that we expand their lifespan. So thank you very much for that, and I also understand that we have some unexpected expenditures too, but I wanna say to regular people that are listening in that this is not all just spending. This is stuff that's been budgeted mostly. It's stuff that's been budgeted and we're putting it into practice. Sometimes we're having to go a little bit earlier because our turnaround times we're finding are extended.
Yes. I will admit, the optics was horrible. I did not want to come to you all with all these items back to back to back. Like I said, it wasn't until last week I learned that the truck was going to take 16 months. Normally it's a year. So I was like, we can space this out a little bit. Good. The one thing I want everyone to understand is we have changed drastically how we are taking care of this equipment. Because what I want is the best resale value to put down on the next piece of equipment to replace it. We have let our stuff go for so long and it has not been taken care of, and we have little to no value in it now. And it's not fair to the taxpayers and our fiduciary responsibilities. I want to take care of our stuff. I want us to have the best stuff out there at the cheapest price and take care of it to provide the best services possible to our citizens. I'll say it, on one of the major snowstorms we had recently, it was nice to go to other municipalities and see their downtown wasn't cleaned off like ours. And we have a great group of guys. We truly, truly do. I've never seen it this good. So I thank you for everything you've done.
I'm in total agreement with that because I've been on council a while to know how things have been. And there's been times when things should have been fixed that was not fixed to the point to where it was so much where you had to buy new. So I'm glad that you're doing that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea if there are other expenses that are anticipated, or are we almost all caught up?
The only thing we had happen that was gonna be anywhere from $15,000 to possibly $30,000, which will leave next winter, is the Salter units, the big silver things you see on the tan military trucks, actually broke down to the point where they were damaged. It's just because they're 8 to 10 years old and their sole function is to basically just haul salt and throw salt out. And so it just literally eats away at it. It was structural integrity issues that actually broke down from the inside that we didn't know about. And they actually bent the units a little bit. It was nothing to do with our guys being careless or anything. It's just they're 8 to 10 years old and they're about done. So that is something I'll have to plan for and work with Finance Director Clark for this coming fall into winter. But everything else I tried to budget for and sit down with him prior to presenting the 2025 budget to you all. So like this $38,000 repair, that was something that wasn't planned, but it's a $600,000 truck to replace it compared to $38,000. It's in good shape.
We'll
Yeah.
get to it.
So,
Any other comments on this agenda?
Thank you. Yes.
sorry.
You're gonna have a roll call.
Councilmember Stewart,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes,
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem French.
Yes. We have a city manager search discussion.
Yes, members of council, as you know, approximately about a week and a half ago, we had sent out the copies of all of the resumes, applications, and reference letters for all 8 candidates that we had received. The discussion tonight is to determine amongst, your honorable body, how you want to proceed with your next city manager search. We've already advertised, we have, again, we've closed off the, application process, and what you have and what you had received is is the total number of candidates we have. That being said, as you know, years ago, we would have seen probably 30 applicants. The whole employment landscape has changed. And while Albion is a very desirable community, at the same time, we have a shrunken workforce that, the number of candidates just aren't as available as they once were. And that is in all fields of the public sector, except in the federal government now. That being said, the administration would like to ask how council would like us to proceed. It would be up to myself and the city clerk to notify the candidates and to decide how you would like to proceed. And that's if you want to proceed. There are alternatives. You don't have to interview anybody. You could wait, re-advertise. Another aspect is we could go to and seek an assistant city manager. We could advertise and see how that fares out with the idea that they would be promoted if it does work out. There are alternatives. So I want you to carefully think about this. And again, this is a discussion we need to have over the next few minutes.
So I want to say thank you to our search firm and to you. I was very pleased with our slate of folks. So out of the 8, I'll just say I personally judged 4 that I wouldn't mind seeing under an interview. And I thought they were very, very well qualified, and it'd be interesting to meet them and discuss with them and hear what they had to say and how they say it. But I really appreciate you saying the alternatives, that we don't have to interview anybody. We don't have to hustle through this. We could also maybe make an offer as an assistant city manager under you. And then if we, it's almost like a trial period, and then we can move them in, and then, or we could just proceed. So I'm very interested in how everybody else saw this, but I was super pleased with the quality of the applicants that we had.
Thank you. Doug, to what granularity of the conversation are we looking to get into?
Not granular.
Not granular at all? Okay. I'm satisfied with the application pool that we have before us. I know we also have the sheet with the different rankings on there. I think that we have a good candidate somewhere in this stack of applications.
Yeah, sure. City manager, you mentioned possibility of perhaps having an assistant city manager. Is that someone from this pool, or is that a completely different pool?
That would be from probably a different pool. That would be from a different pool.
And in the event we went that direction, how long do you see that, I guess that term being for?
It would take us at least a month to advertise. And then,
Sorry, city manager, what I meant was, how long do you see that assistant city manager position being an assistant before being moved into being city manager? Would that be kind of a discretionary, when it felt right kind of thing?
I would think so.
Okay.
That's a new scenario that I wasn't aware of, in terms of an assistant city manager. So what are you thinking?
That if a qualified person presented themselves as a candidate, a possible candidate. Staff and I would work with that person, evaluate that person, and then recommend to this council that that person be promoted as the permanent city manager.
After a specific length of time.
That length of time would be measured by the potential of progress that that person would demonstrate.
Under your tutelage.
If that's what the council would desire.
Just so we understand, I think at the next city council meeting, we need to go into closed session. We can bring the applicant pool that we have. So we can give each other homework to review the applicants, to rank them. Whether you list pros and cons, whatever it is that you use to assess the applicant pool. We have a closed session, we have a conversation. At that closed session, we can decide how many we want to come in for interviews, and we can progress forward. If in that conversation we cannot reach agreement, or if we don't find candidates that we wish to interview, although I doubt that, given the applicant pool, then I would recommend we think about alternatives only after we have exhausted this pool. I think it's a little disingenuous for us to not go through the full vetting, have a conversation in closed session and be able to make a decision that is best for our city.
And I would agree with that.
Right.
Mayor Pro Tem. I think both Councilmember Donovan Williams and Councilmember Stewart brought up good points that they felt confident that there was a good list of candidates. Remember, we're looking for the long term. We're looking for commitment, and we're looking for competency. Those are traits that we have to insist on. We don't want to keep going through city managers. We want a long-term manager. The citizens demand it, staff demands it, you demand it, and should expect it. So that would be, and again, I think Councilmember French nailed it when he says, let's meet, let's go through the process, and then we can decide what our alternatives are.
Yes, I would like to, that there is a rubric that we have, correct? You know, the rubric to look at the 8 candidates, right? Okay. That you, okay, good.
I would comment that it's probably important that we move with urgency as well, because the longer we wait, the more likely we are to experience less availability in that pool. Agreed. So there are a lot of openings for city manager around the state right now, and even in our area.
So that being said, would you like us to schedule a closed session for next week? Push it.
I would go for that.
Next meeting? Next week. So between the first special meeting, yeah, special closed session meeting. Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem, I will not be here next week or the week after.
Oh,
When do you leave?
I leave this Thursday. And to be honest, I actually be gone for 3 weeks.
so we will expect your written summaries and evaluation of those, because I don't think we can wait 3 weeks.
If that's the council would like from me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So can we meet next Monday? Colin,
I have to be in Deep Rapids for that council meeting.
can you send a rep?
I have to check with John, his wife is in night school, so I don't know what day of week that is. It may be problematic, I may be able to attend by Zoom.
That'd be okay.
I can't guarantee, so Deep Rapids starts their meeting at 5.
Okay.
So depending upon, I mean, what I might suggest is maybe send out a doodle poll to everybody and see if there's a day next week that works for everybody. But it may be the day other than Monday, I don't know.
I see. Okay. That works. Okay.
And Zoom, you know,
Jill, can you arrange that or shall
Thank you, Jill.
I? Good suggestion, Colin, thank you. Okay, moving on. Do I have a motion to approve the appointment of Jim Stewart, an initial appointment to the Recreation Advisory Commission, term to expire February 20th of 2028? Whoa.
Sorry,
Support.
she
Oh,
made a
she did,
motion.
okay, thank you. Any discussion? Pickleball?
Well, I'll just say, if you look at my, application, I do have a lot of experience in that area and I'm quite passionate about it. And I will say frankly that I also want to see things happen.
Yeah.
I really want our recreation delivery to improve.
Yeah.
I want it strongly and that's why I want to be on.
All right.
On a commission.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim. Then need a roll call vote?
Councilmember. Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Do I abstain on this?
No.
Yes, I strongly support.
Yeah,
and Mayor Pro Tem French.
Yes. Thank you, Jim, for your
You gave a
service.
vote for you, I'm not voting for you.
Do I have a motion to approve the expenditure of $38,728.61 for a jet truck repair?
Support.
Thank you.
So this is for the city's jet truck. This is the big blue and white truck that everyone's driving around town, working on various things, mainly water main breaks. It also is made for cleaning out our storm sewers and our sanitary sewers. This went in for routine maintenance over to a company that was a sales rep, Jack Doheny, over in Northville. It ended up being a lot more than what we initially anticipated. It needed a pressure pump put in it as well. There were some baffles in the tank. You have to remember this sucks up dirt, stone, just a ton of debris that gets tossed around inside the tanks, and it literally just beat up the baffles that were inside of it. There was also little things just from everyday use that just wore out from it. It ended up being an $18,000 repair, and it turned into another $19,000 bill. To replace this truck as a whole is going to cost $600,000 when we go to replace it. And so our truck is in very good shape. It's got a few years left of it, and it's light. The only issue with this truck is International had an engine that was not the best. They put in some production years, and we happened to get one of those. However, ours, knock on wood, runs great. And so we'll be using this, the citizens will be seeing this every single day, unless it's downpouring, going through and cleaning out our entire sanitary system this year, and next year will be our storm sewer system. And every year they'll just be rotating, getting back to a basis for that. When we did have a water main break on Super Bowl Sunday, our truck was getting repaired. The city marshal was kind enough to come over and help us out with 2 personnel in their truck. And then just when we had the water main break on North Eaton Street, they took our truck and the city marshal's truck to get 12-inch main, get the water down far enough to where our guys could put a clamp on it to get it to stop spraying so bad. That was mainly because the valves that are so old in our city no longer work, or they broke when they tried closing them down. So this truck is incredibly important when it comes to repairs. Right next to that main water line was a 4-inch gas line from Southern. That was probably about 2 feet away from our water main. We don't use the backhoe to dig that out. We actually use the jet truck to suck all the dirt and everything away from that, so it doesn't damage the gas lines. And so this truck is extremely important to our infrastructure and our needs.
Any questions?
question, it's one of the notes you have here, it says the truck will be used to assist in the lead and copper reporting for the state. How so?
So what it'll do is it'll punch a hole down through it instead of digging up the lines going to somebody's house. This can actually just suck down to that line and help remediate it to see, like an inspection tube, basically. Where we suspect there's lead copper going into that house or a lead line or a brass line going in, instead of us tearing up everything all the time, we can just punch a hole down through where the service is at, inspect it, and then fill it back in.
Any other questions? Have a roll call, Joe.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Frost,
Yes.
Davis, and Mayor Pro Tem French.
Yes. I have a motion to approve the purchase of a Ram 3500 pickup truck.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, this vehicle is not part of the enterprise leasing fleet. This is one we're actually purchasing. This vehicle is to replace the one I currently drive, belongs to public safety. That'll end up going back into public safety's fleet. That vehicle I have currently is the blue Ram truck that's out there. It has a center console with police lights, siren, radio, and it's set up for police purposes. We're going to take the Ford Explorer, a 2017 Ford Explorer that public safety has. They're gonna take the Ram truck back. That 2017 Ford Explorer is gonna be stripped back down, back seats can be put back in it, and that'll be used for city hall and for council and for city staff to go to trainings, used by public safety to go to court. Right now, we have no vehicle for any city hall staff, period. Outside of code enforcement, public safety, and public works. This will give us a vehicle then to have and for council to take for trainings. The vehicles that we actually own for public works is a 1986 Chevy truck that we got from the military. We got 3 2000 Chevy pickups that we got for free from the military. And then the ones that we do own are 2 2009 3/4 ton Chevys and 1 2010 3/4 ton Chevy. Those all have over 100,000 miles on them. Those are the trucks you'll see driving around that have the black flatbeds on them because the boxes have all rusted out on them. And then they'll have the black toolboxes. I've refurbished them a little bit by putting new seats in the front. They're still in solid shape, but they are 2009 and 2010s. So what the plan is, we'll purchase this one truck that'll be spread across all the funds of Public Works. I will keep that truck for 2 years and then I will rotate that truck to get rid of the oldest truck we have. And then every 2 to 3 years, just like what public safety does, is purchase a truck. So we have some vehicles that are our own. This leasing program has worked out great because we actually get equity and we couldn't have the fleet that we have today by purchasing them ourselves. We have 11 pickup trucks that's in Public Works as a whole. We could never afford to go out and buy 11 pickup trucks at $48,000 a piece. So this is for myself to drive, and then I'll have to use for my duties as Public Works Director, and then put the other one back in the Public Safety fleet.
Any questions? Yeah, thank you.
Have we considered, maybe a smaller truck, or what was the reason for going?
So I did. I was looking for a half-ton truck. The problem is I was looking for what we would use it for. Everything that we do is something that's heavy duty, whether it's snow plowing, whether it's pulling a hot patcher or a trailer. And today's half-tons came with V6s. They're phasing out having any V8s period in the half-ton trucks, unless you're paying very good money, and then it would leave the state bid price. State bid has very fixed vehicles that are on that. And so I thought, if we want something for resale, we want something we can use across all the departments, a 1-ton truck is better than going with a half-ton truck. We do have a half-ton truck that we leased. That's why I was originally going for it. It's pretty bad. Works, you're just driving around doing nothing else with it. So their state bids are really geared towards 3/4 and 1-ton.
And since it's gonna be rotated in 2 years to serve the department.
Any other questions? Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Frost,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem French.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the City of Albion's non-union benefits manual involving the ESTA changes?
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of council, in your agenda packet this evening is a description of the Earned Sick Time Act. This is for non-union people, and let me just give you a few brief changes. The accrual rate increases 1 hour per 35 hours worked on part-time, or not part-time, but the Leave Act of 1 hour per 30 hours worked, eliminates previous 40-hour accrual cap, increases annual usage from 40 hours to 72 hours per year, and removes the 40-hour carryover limit. What this does is there's been recent changes both in state and federal rules concerning this. And so it, as a major employer, we have to have this on record. So it gives us a guideline of how we're going to treat earned sick time. We welcome any questions or comments. The administration urges council to pass as presented.
Any questions?
I've got a question.
Sure.
Urging us to pass this, but this is state legislation. We really have no choice.
That's correct. Because we are an employer, we employ just over 70 people. We are required to have this policy in place.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Union representation, how is this going over with them?
This is for the salary people.
Oh, this is just a salary?
Salary, that will be addressed in their union contract.
Okay, gotcha.
And it will be the same.
Just so, this is just for information. So we employ a little over 70 people in our organization. The rule of thumb is usually 1% of the municipal workforce, including city manager, represents about that of your population. So if we have 7,700 people that reside in Albion, 1% of that is usually our workforce. That is a rule of thumb for most municipalities. So like in Litchfield, they had a population of about 1,300, had 13 employees. Here we have about 7. So that is, and of course, as you gain in numbers, you also gain in the requirements of rule keeping. So that's just for information.
Any other comments or questions? Have a roll call, please, Jill?
Councilmember Stewart,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed. Yes. And Mayor Pro Tem French.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-04 to approve the 2026 congressional spending request for proposed projects? I think we have an update on earlier.
So
Yes.
So So, Mayor Pro Tem and members of council, in your agenda packet this evening, there's a resolution to approve the 2026 congressional spending request. This has not changed, even though we are, have been notified that chances are it probably won't get funded. This is $6.9 million. We're hoping that it will get approved, but many of the projects that come out of federal spending are now being canceled. We would still ask council to endorse this resolution, just in the event that possibility we will get by miracle funded.
It's pretty much a guarantee we won't get funded if we don't submit it.
Correct.
That's correct.
Any other questions? And roll call vote.
Councilmember Frost,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes,
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem French.
Yes, future agenda items. Anything to, Colin, do we have anything coming up?
We're bringing some ordinance amendments to council, I'll give it to Joe
Okay.
for discussion first reading.
I was asked about the lights, the still on the sledding hill in terms of being dangerous. So I would just like to get an update regarding, well, it's not you anymore. Who
Chief.
is it?
It's current.
Is, okay. We would like to get an update because a couple of weeks ago, I brought to the attention of a Victory Park, Victory Hill, I guess it's called, in terms of the lights coming on at an appropriate time, so.
So, myself and Chief Fifth, we were looking at that and we were trying to find where the park closes at dusk. We couldn't find where it's supposed to stay open for the sledding. But we had lights on the sledding. And we had them replaced recently, so it's like, wait a minute, the park is supposed to be closed at dusk, and why do we have lights on the sledding hill and so forth, so we're trying to figure that one out and try to get an answer for you, so
I say you go with dusk, October 1st.
that's October 1st.
That would be about 7:30.
The biggest thing is just when it's for sledding purposes.
Yeah.
And so,
I remember as a kid, it being open, the light being on later. I mean, I remember 10, 11 o'clock growing up, and it was up until then, he forwarded me that email. Then I took my own kids down there around 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock on Friday, Saturday night. And I said, and then simultaneously, he sent that email. I was like, so funny, you sent me that because I just thought the same thing myself. So yes, I recall it being at least 10 or 11.
Yeah.
It would only make sense, you know, especially earlier.
So dusk, July 20th.
Yeah, something I think is, yes, because regardless of the sign says dusk or not, we're gonna utilize it regardless of what the rule is. So I think it's best that we can keep that light on till a certain time, 11 o'clock, because they're gonna use it regardless, we need to make sure it's safe.
Right, for safety reasons.
Yes, yeah, regardless of the rule.
And we may have to consider putting some language in the parks policy to accommodate for the sledding in the winter time.
That's a good point.
That may help.
You want that forwarded to the recreation board or to?
Yeah.
We'll just give it to Jim, he'll take it over. You on the board too? Lee?
What?
You on the rec board?
So we have
That
two
would-
members.
Is that what council's desire is? Have the rec board review that?
Well, my desire is to get it done. So if you, I mean, if it's going to take a while before.
You now realize, of course, you just jinxed us. We're not gonna get a lick of snow the rest of the winter.
We are in the process of doing the rules for the parks
Yeah, that's,
now.
yeah, so I think that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
And you can insert that for Victory because that's a special part of town.
Consider a special use.
Give us a copy.
Any other agenda items? All right, thanks, guys. Public comment. Persons addressing the city council shall limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes. Proper decorum is required. Please come forward and address any concerns you might have.
Good evening. I wish that I could say I was here on better terms, but it's good to see everyone.
Name and address. Name and address, please.
My name is Deshandra, DICHONDRA Johnson, JOHNSON, DRJ and Associates, LLC. That is Redford, Michigan, 48239. Good evening. DRJ and Associates is a business development, economic empowerment, and grant management firm. We entered into a contract September 2024 to support the AEDC in economic development. We were also slated in good faith to serve this community and have an expo right here, almost would have been actually a week from now, to support the small businesses. We were also slated to help the AEDC and some of the things you're discussing, which is development. And let me tell you today, we really regret that we gave this community a distressed community discount of almost 78% just to come into a distressed city, just to be stonewalled from getting payment and not able to close out a contract. So on December 17th, we received a text based on a city council meeting where we were told that our contract was terminated due to budget concerns. What we found out actually is that our contract was being hidden underneath the former person who has the role of CEO. And when we presented that, that's when we were told that we would receive payment. We never did. And so we're here today with an outstanding almost $6,000, which would have been much more if you add in the 78% discount. The other reason why we're here today is that in learning about our funds, we also realized that our firm was being surveillanced in a way that we did not consent. Not only us, but also every member of the community who entered the AEDC office, there were surveillance cameras. We did not consent to that. We were not aware that we were also being monitored both audio and visual. And so we wanted to bring the community's attention because that is concerned, as we have data breaches happening every day. Why we are here today is as good community citizens, we want to make sure that we are in good faith doing our part, but also we want to be rectified of any payment that is needed. We have a 2-month cancellation clause that has been violated. We came here to support small businesses. We're not trying to be violated as a small business doing business in Albion. Thank you, and have a good night. We would like to have also actual on the record meeting. We have seen no record of discussion on any meeting that actually brought this to the table. I've seen a lot of contracts being discussed tonight in several thousands of dollars. I'm pretty sure you can find time for 6,000. Thank you.
You can do whatever you want. All right, thank you. First of all, thank you for allowing me to address this council this evening. My name is Andrew Christopher, Andrew A-N-D-R-E-W. Christopher, C-H-R-I-S-T-O-P-H-E-R. I live at 906 Irwin Avenue, where I've resided for 24 years as of July 13th coming up. I would like to begin by asking you all a question. How would you like if the town of Albion was featured on local news, or perhaps even picked up by national news circuits, for a dog attack that injured, perhaps even killed children waiting at their school bus stop? On October 21st, 2024, we were maybe about 30 minutes away from that possibility becoming a reality. At around 6:50 that morning, I was walking my dog on the north side of Irwin Avenue, heading west back toward my house. My dog, for reference, is a 35-pound, 9-year-old Beagle mix. Not exactly your prototypical attack dog. As we were walking, a dog that resides at 709 Irwin Avenue attacked my dog and me with no provocation whatsoever. We were at 2 houses east of Orchard Street, which is directly across from 709 Irwin Avenue. That dog, interestingly, came from the north side of Irwin, but 709 is on the south side of Irwin. That dog had been roaming the neighborhood looking for a living creature to attack. Luckily, the school bus stop picked up on Orchard about 30 minutes earlier, but obviously that did not help my dog or me. The negligent dog owners at 709 Irwin Avenue claimed in the police report that their dogs are trained on an electric fence, but on the morning of October 21st, the batteries in the dog's collar had died. I'm pleased that's the only thing that died that morning. However, clearly the dog was not trained on the electric fence, because if it was, it would not need the electric shock from its collar to stay on its property. Much like you train your children to be responsible adults, they should not need constant reminding as adults if they're properly trained. Officer Zach Benke took the report that morning, incident number 24-01330. That's 24-01330. He was absolutely fantastic both that morning and the follow-up in the weeks ahead. Chief Aaron Phipps also followed up with me without my inquiring, and even gave me an hour of his time in January to explain why, despite this being the second unprovoked dog attack from 709 Irwin Avenue, the owners would not be arrested and the dogs would not be put down. One condition was that the owners needed to assure their dogs would not have the opportunity to attack more living creatures. Unfortunately, the negligent dog owners at 709 Irwin are not living up to that responsibility. We have seen, my neighbors and I, we have seen their dogs freely roaming in the yard many times over the past 2 months. So why am I here tonight? Well, from now on, when the dogs at 709 Irwin are off leash, I will be calling the police. Many of my neighbors have indicated they will do so. However, they've often voiced to me they are worried about what the neighbors will do to them if they call the police. Clearly, intimidation is part of what goes on at 709 Irwin Avenue. We, my neighbors and I, were willing to play nice, as Chief Phipps advised, but these people clearly don't want to do so. Again, they will claim the electric fence will protect the neighborhood. We know that is at best wrong and at worst a callous lie. The experience that my dog and I had to endure on the morning of October 21st are proof of that. Furthermore, although it's against my nature, I will be carrying a weapon with me from now on when I walk my dog. I will use that weapon not only against any dog that attacks me, but against any human being that tries to prevent me from defending my dog, myself, or any of my neighbors that are attacked. Maybe I'm being unreasonable, forgive me if I am, but I should not have to wait for other living creatures to be attacked by these dogs at 709 Irwin. And given that the attack on October 21st was in fact the second attack from that address, it is only a matter of when, not a matter of if, the next dog attack will occur. Can you imagine the attention that Albion will get if the next dog attack does in fact happen at that school bus stop just 1 block away? Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Any other public comments?
So, typically I don't necessarily your meeting.
You're fine.
Your county prosecutor, I'm sorry, I'm not wearing a suit tonight, but Paul Harkness is. Try to come down and see at least once a year, and give you an update what's going on. Update as far as Calhoun County is concerned, things are going pretty well in the prosecutor's office. We're up to staff. We're getting caught up on cases that put us behind COVID. Out of the 30 homicide trials we had left at the beginning of last year, down to 16. And that includes the ones that have occurred since that time. So that's going well. I got some good news, bad news, good news, bad news, good news for you. Good news is the state of Michigan last year voted to give 15 counties in this state $17 million total for those 15 counties that are the highest violent crime rates. Bad news is Calhoun County is ranked number 2, right behind Wayne County. Good news is we're going to get like $420,000 the prosecutor's office to help combat violent crime. That means more prosecutors and other programs that we can put in place to maybe combat crime. Bad news is they screwed up the law, which can't use it right now. Good news is they think they'll have the law fixed by April this year. So we, Lake County, and the other 13 counties can get the funding. Does that have any questions for me though?
I would ask, as a public body, and you had indicated that Calhoun County is number 2 in violent crimes in the state per capita. Is there anything that we can do to help prevent that?
People need to come forward when they see crime. The biggest problem we have with violent crime is people keep their mouth shut. Albion is one of those cities that has that issue. Battle Creek is one of those cities that has that issue. Every city has that issue. We see it most, it comes out the most in Albion and Battle Creek. You had a homicide here a few days ago. There doesn't seem to be an issue for that one. It's taken care of very quickly, and people, everything's well. someone died, but it was handled very quickly by law enforcement and ended very quickly. So public participation is very, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just take care.
Good question.
That's supposed to.
Mayor and council, city manager report, sorry.
Yes. One significant item I want to bring to council's attention tonight is, as you know, the administration put out a request for proposal for recreation services. We have had really good responses. Our mantra has been is collaboration. We want to see all parties working together. And I think we're going to achieve that, including the YMCA, including playwrights participation. We're going to also have the senior citizen, or the senior recreation village funded, or program funded. What we're planning on doing is using the YMCA as they're going to hire a representative to be here all the time to help coordinate all those. And they will come on a monthly basis and give this council a report of that collaboration and progress of all the programs that we have going on. I think this is a good step forward. I think council needs to hear and be able to question why certain things aren't done and certain things are done. We want to see that as developed. The other thing is, and it was a very positive meeting that I had with Mr. Barnes and the superintendent of schools out of Marshall, which, as you know, has adopted part of our school, or here in Albion. We are looking at buying 2 vans, buses to help transport children to different events. We're also looking at that YMCA representative. So we're working all together to try and make and reactivate a lot of interest. And this isn't just for youth, this is for all age groups. So we think that this is an important move forward. And let me just say this, I was very impressed with my meeting with the superintendent. She really wants to build a school here. Not saying she can because of funding, but she really wants to. Because we know that schools offer a center of where social activities, both not only for children, but for parents as well. They offer playgrounds, they offer a place inside for recreation as well. It's where kids learn how to socialize and get along. We think that that is a good foundation for our community, and we want to see that proceed. And kudos to her for those efforts. I really appreciate that. So there's a lot of things going on. As you know, there's staff changes going on as we speak. We are in final discussions with our union members on pay increases. We have to make it affordable for the city as well. So hopefully at our next meeting, the administration will be bringing forward memorandums of understanding, outlining wage increases. So not only can we retain staff, but be able to recruit staff so we can maintain a good workforce. That being said, that's all I have.
Questions for interim city manager? Okay. Mayor and council member comments. We have any comments from council members at this time? Yep. I'd just like to say thank you to Mary Slater and the Arts Commission. They put on the Black History Month event at the Isman House this past weekend. They had a great turnout, another great event that they've been able to facilitate with the help of us here at City Council approving their budget. So going forward, they're doing great things, and I just like to say thank you to them and all the great work that they do, just volunteering, you know, making sure we have good events to attend. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
It was nice. I attended on Friday night, so with food and music. So that's an addition to what has happened previously, but it was a nice event.
Anything else?
Well, obviously, I'm not Mayor Snyder. So our mayor is currently in Atlanta, Georgia with her school, with some students, and she'll be back by the weekend, I believe. So she'll be certainly available. And she's checking your email, so please feel free if you have issues with the mayor that the mayor can address. Don't hesitate to send her an email or text her or whatever. Thanks so much. Do I have a motion to excuse our mayor?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So support.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.